All right. Let's do it.
All right, we are recording, and this is another episode of Morning Roast. Today we are joined by Miss Blonde. Hello, Miss Blonde. How are you doing?
Hello. I am just peachy keen.
I believe you. That sincerity comes through so clearly. Now, I got to say, before we get to the mugs, I've heard from some of our broader audience that not everybody watching this may or may not know who each other is. So I thought it'd be worthwhile to take a second and introduce who are you, what do you teach, and why are you talking to us?
Well, for that, I'll ask the last question first. I'm talking to you because I feel compelled to make sure that Mr. Menenberg is, behaving himself and that people are keeping him in line because he, gets out of control sometimes.
Sometimes. All right, so who are you? And what do you teach?
I'm Miss Blonde, Juliana Blonde. I teach geometry and I teach a study skills class this year.
Very nice. And you were also the department chair for what department at the school?
I am also the department chair for the special ed department.
And we are lucky to have you. And Miss Wold, for the record, what do you teach as well? We know who you are, but what do you teach with that background so obvious?
I teach theater, but I also teach history and English, and I am endorsed for CTE. So just pretty much everything.
That's a long list.
Mm-hmm.
The theater part explains the dramatic lighting you have right now. I like it.
Well, we just moved, and it's I'm downstairs in my office, so this is the window that comes in because I have to replace the light bulbs. It's too garish, and so I'm gonna get a new one.
Very nice.
Good word.
All right, shall we introduce? And of course, I'm Menenberg, and I teach AP World History, Honors English, and Intro to Public Speaking. Whatever that is.
I would love right now for just to hear a student go, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, they have no idea. Who? Can we introduce our mugs now? Miss Blonde, we'll start with you because you are our guest.
Sure. This is my mug for the day. It says "Make It Happen." There's. Sorry.
Oh, this is bad. This is
Apologies. That happens in the middle of class sometimes too. This is my motivation mug.
Does it lift you up every day that you drink out of it?
More or less. Yeah, more or less. Yeah, some days nothing really lifts me up, but I do my best anyways.
Perfect. Wold, what do you got today?
You said that with such a beautiful smile on your face, but it just made me sad inside.
No, don't be sad. It's just like there are just those days sometimes.
That is true.
We all have them, let's be honest.
I did want to sleep in today. This mug I had to grab from the dishwasher about a minute ago because I was like, oh no, I need a mug. And so this is, can you see that from where you are? It says nasty woman because of the debates last night. I'm feeling particularly nasty today, so.
I wish I had that mug. Can I say that without getting political? Like, I want one for myself.
You may not.
My birthday's coming up, so.
You may not have.
I'm not getting you that mug.
Why not?
You have not earned that mug.
Oh.
And so once you become a nasty woman, then you may receive that mug. I know saying this, some student who has it out for me is gonna be like, I'm getting him that mug.
I'd like to see it. Well, we are, of course, not really going to get political on this particular topic, but it is a controversial topic. Before we get to that, my mug says best AP World teacher, and it has tyrant and despot crossed out. So it was a gift from a student. And I like to point out the size of this thing. It's nearly the size of my face, which is important because as teaching remotely or whatever, it's often a very long day and a lot of this liquid is necessary. It's coffee, of course. So with that, let's talk about gifts. Best gifts, worst gifts, regifting, anything is fair game. So I thought it'd be good to start just with best and worst gifts you two have received in your life, if you can think of one.
Okay, that's really hard. Well, like, cause my mug, I feel like, okay, for me, love language, that is my love language, is gifts, because not necessarily like I want stuff, even just a note is so sweet, and I'll keep it. Like, if a student like folds an origami rose for me, I will keep that forever. Like, I'm just like, this is, you made this for me, and it's embarrassing how excited I get over getting something, and so. Um, I don't know. It just means a lot. I feel like I would have to say, I guess my engagement ring, that's a gift. I would say that's my most favorite gift.
Okay.
I would hope that would be your favorite.
I mean, I also
Valid,
like my
I guess.
cat. He was a Christmas present last year.
Oh, yeah.
Blond, what do you got? Best or worst?
My best one, I would say, is also a ring that my mom got me. 2 rings, actually. One was just a sentimental family heirloom, and the other one was like a, hey, you made it through college ring. So I really appreciate those. I don't think that I could talk about the worst gift that I've ever received, only because my grandmother and aunt have literally given me every horrible gift I can ever get for my entire 32 years of life. So,
give us one. Come on. What comes to mind first? What's the worst one?
Well, the first one that comes to mind was actually given to my sister, and it was this sweater that on the main part of the sweater, it was like a leopard or cheetah print, okay? But then the sleeves and part of the back of the sweater was like forest floor ground cover.
I'm in.
That is a specific color. Oh,
it was.
I'd like that in an adult large, please.
Sticks all over the sleeve. It wasn't
just the color. It was like a weird kind of cameo thing.
Yeah, it was like trying to do camo.
Oh,
but it was
sounds good.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Okay, I'll do a brief best and worst. These are good. So mine's a similar line on the worst, and I feel guilty saying this because it was from my grandma, and she passed away last year, and she didn't give it to me she gave it to me probably 20 years ago. But one year, I don't know if you remember this, and maybe you do, maybe you don't. There was a store in the mall called like the Imaginarium or something. It was like a toy store with like weird toys. Does that sound familiar at all?
Sure.
I'm sure. We'll say sure. Okay. So anyway, grandma goes in there and buys gifts for all of her grandkids. And there's a lot of us. And she asked a salesperson to help her. Like, hey, what would a 12-year-old boy and a 14-year-old girl and a 9, all the list. And he was terrible. He didn't have any clue what we want. So guess what I end up with? I end up with, and I'm probably 12. I end up with a tie-dye kit. Make your own tie-dye.
I love that gift. You are just ungrateful.
Okay, no, I am ungrateful. It's true. But for 12,
you live in a world of black and white.
That's just
you
like
should have
a
added
very,
some color
very
to your life.
odd gift in general. I don't think I've ever worn anything tie-dye in my life. I know that may surprise a lot of you, but so anyway, after everyone it was so awkward because after everyone opens these gifts, pretty much everyone got a gift that was like, okay. So she gets all upset about it, and she just runs around the room and grabs them all back and busts out her wallet and just starts handing out cash. So we felt a little badly, but at the same time, like, you're a 12-year-old boy, like, you can't fake liking a tie-dye. I'm sorry, you can't. It's too much.
Yeah, in my family, you're taught to swoon over it. Like, you have to be like, oh my God, my life is not complete until this moment. And then later you can dispose of it, but to their face. Or if they're across the country, you got to write a note being like, thank you for completing my life with this tie-dye kit.
Yeah. No, you figure out, David. You just figure it out. Like,
Sorry, I had to get my light back on.
That's fine. The level of skill that I developed over the years in being appreciative of the gifts that I received from my grandma and my aunt, I am a master of disguising my disappointment.
I believe you, and I think this is an important point that I want to explore here in a second. And I think I know both your answers to this. But before that, I will say one of the best gifts that comes to mind was from my mom, and that was my dog, Bacon. Birthday present back in 2007. She drove him down. I was living in California at the time, so she drove him down with my sister to deliver the puppy. And that was pretty special. And obviously, he for those of you who don't know, he passed on this last spring, and so I had about 13 years with him. So that was a pretty good gift.
Did you know you were going to get a puppy, or was that a surprise?
I did know I was going to get a puppy, and I did know what I was going to name him. I knew all of that, but you both have met my dog, and you know how great the animal
I actually
was.
I never got to meet Bacon.
You never did?
No, I never did. I just saw the picture of him.
Well,
I know.
You missed out. In any case,
I got enough Bacon time for the both of us.
You did. You got.
I got a whole weekend.
Enough said. You got more than your share. That's for sure. But
before we move on, I want to just let you know, for a little fair warning, David. My new goal is to make sure that you own and wear something tie-dye in the time that we work together.
Okay. Okay. Can it be a headband? I think a headband, that would be cool. I'd do that.
I will make some decisions. I will.
Okay. Can we put polls out there? Can we do some surveys? Get some general feedback.
A tie. That would be fun. A tie-dye tie.
I'm already. We'll discuss.
Okay.
I've got some solid.
I'm glad I opened that can of worms then. All right. So let's move on to the next part of this. And again, I think I know where you both stand on this. Do you believe you should lie about liking a gift that is terrible? Why or why not?
It depends on the person, and it depends on the gift.
Okay.
So with my aunt.
Okay, so who would you tell the truth to?
Lie.
I think aunt and grandma, we established you're gonna blow some smoke their way.
Yeah.
But if your good friend Miss Wold gave you a gift and in your heart of hearts you're like, this is easily the worst thing I've ever received in my life, what are you saying to her?
I would still appreciate it, because I know that that's her love language, and the fact that she thought about me and she wanted to gift something to me would genuinely mean a lot to me. Whether I liked the gift itself, she would never know. But I will say, every gift I have received from her, I have very much loved. Genuinely.
I really like that necklace I found at a thrift store. It said brunette on it that I gave you.
Oh,
that made me laugh. I was like, yay! I was like, she needs that. I thought it was funny. I think I would lie to anyone except my husband, because my parents got divorced, and I saw, before they got divorced, just meltdowns over gifts. Because my dad would sometimes give good gifts, and then he would just give really thoughtless gifts. And so with that, I feel like that's where you need to be honest, being like, this missed the mark. And this, especially if it just makes you unhappy, or if you're never going to use it. It's not like if Miss Blonde gave me a blender. She may never see me use the blender. But if my husband gave me a blender, he would see, every day I wouldn't use this blender.
That's true. I agree with that. I think if you're living with the person who gave you the gift, it's a lot harder to kind of, dance around the fact that you think it's an awful gift. They are the most close person to you. They're probably going to figure it out. I like the way, I think, Blonde, you kind of said it this way. You can appreciate the giver of the gift in the way you respond to the gift without betraying the fact that you think it's awful. So so you could say something like, oh, that was so loving. Thank you so much for this. Or, it means so much to me that you showed up for this whatever event, and thank you. So I just don't like the idea of totally lying as well. I don't think you have to, though, for most situations. For the spouse or the significant other that's living with you or close to you enough, that it's going to be really hard to pretend. And then it's going to be 3 years later and you'll be like, oh yeah, I didn't like that. Right? It's going to come out eventually. Eventually it comes out.
It will come out eventually. And if you wait, it will just drag on your soul if you're not being honest, because you're like, oh God, are they going to ask me why I haven't worn that sweatshirt? Are they going to ask me where the pair of earrings is? Oh God. And you'll think about it all the time. It's not like you can just subtly get rid of it. At some point, you're going to have to come clean. And tell them like, no, I didn't like it.
Okay. So flip it around though. If you gave a gift that the person didn't like and you didn't know they didn't like it, would you want them to tell you?
That does not compute for me because I always give really good gifts.
Obviously.
Okay, if I gave someone something that like they found useless, I would want them to let me know, I suppose, but then I would be annoyed because I'd be like, no, you clearly don't know why this is really helpful for you. But if like someone told me this is ugly, like if I gave them a sweater and they were like, ew, it looks like the forest floor, I think I'd be like, you don't know it's fashionable. I don't know. No, I want people to say thank you, and then they can get rid of it later.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you wouldn't be offended if they got rid of it later.
They don't have to do it in front of me. They don't have to be like, thank you, here's the trash can. Like, they can discreetly get rid of it later, and they don't have to share it with me.
Blond, what do you think?
I think Wold and I are on the same page, for sure. Which
I can't even imagine you giving a bad gift. Like, that also, like, I'm like, no, that doesn't happen. Yeah, you. Yeah.
I don't think that I give bad gifts, but I will there are definitely times that I just won't give a gift if I feel overwhelmed by figuring out what to get somebody.
Oh no.
Like, there have been multiple birthdays, my sister's in particular, because she is the hardest person to shop for, that I'll just be like, hey, happy birthday, I hope it's a great day, your present is on the way.
Awkward.
And then it's
also thank you, Facebook, for telling me it was your birthday, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then it just like never shows up. Oops. Oh no, I don't know what happened. I'll get in touch.
I need to remember that because my in-laws can be so hard to shop for. Like my father-in-law, I never know what to get him. It is always just a panic. And
yeah, I'm also not good at planning ahead, and so I'm usually shopping for gifts at the very last second. I gave my sister a birthday present this year, but I gave it to her a month after her birthday.
So, that's kind of nice. It drags out the birthday.
Yeah. Well, okay, so I was going to just say, like, for me, if I gave a bad gift or a gift somebody didn't like, I guess I'd want to know. Like, I wouldn't take it personally. I'd want to know, like, okay, well, I gave money and time and whatever to produce this for you. And if it doesn't have the effect that I intended, let's figure something else out. That's my mentality. I don't think it's a personal thing, unless maybe like which wouldn't happen, but like if I
find it very hard to believe that if you gave me a gift and I was like, nah, that you'd be like, let's figure this out. What do you really want? I feel like you'd be like, I don't care.
I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't want you to hold on to something that is of no use or benefit, or you don't like it. That doesn't make any sense. I'd rather you have something that you like. I'd rather have something you're going to use.
But if you know me, if you put any thought, I feel like you'd be able to find me something that I could use or enjoy. I feel like it's not that hard. You just have to like think about it for a second.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And that goes into my next question. So my next question is this. Do you prefer to be a thoughtful gift giver and not have a list from somebody? Or would you rather them tell you, hey, here's what I want. Here's like 5 different things. Pick something.
I think it depends. Like if someone is just very difficult and they're the kind of person where if they need something, they'll go get it themselves and they don't even particularly want something. Mm-hmm. I would want them to know, especially because I like giving events as gifts. I like going somewhere with that person and doing something with them.
Yeah.
And so if I know that they really are into Cirque du Soleil, like I'll get tickets for that. So yeah, I enjoy lists so I can go off of it. I may not get you exactly what's on that list, but I will use it as inspiration.
Yep. I'm the exact same way. And in the off chance that I do have to go creative, I always give a gift receipt. So then it's like kind of compromising on the whole, you don't have to tell me that you don't like it, but this is, you know, a discreet way for us to work together on finding something that you do like.
Absolutely.
But I do prefer the list if somebody gives me an idea of what they're looking for, and it just makes it easier. But I'm still spending the time and the money to get the thing for them.
Yeah, I like a list. I usually either work from it or, like Wold said, I use it as inspiration. I think it's at least helpful. I mean, I don't think you should demand that from a person, but come on, let's give us something to work with. We're all busy people and we care about each other. So let's help each other maybe so we don't have to fake some awkward, like, oh, I love this. Come on, let's help each other.
Exactly.
Okay, here's a controversial subject related to gifts. The regift. Is it okay? Is it something that you're offended by? Have you ever received a regift? How did you know?
I have received a regift. And I'm honestly okay with regifts. But they have to be done the right way.
Yes.
So, like you cannot regift in the same social circle because then it's just obvious. But also your regift has to still be thoughtful. So like the one that I received recently, my friend got this book from somebody, she read through it and she had it sitting on her shelf for, you know, years or something. And then she was like purging, she was getting rid of a bunch of stuff. And she found the book and she was like, Juliana would really love that. And so she gave it to me. And she told me that it was a regift and she told me why she was giving it to me. If it were just like, I don't know. I've had other ones, I'm pretty sure, again, from my aunt and grandma. They're just really on a roll.
Yeah, they are. Shout out.
That were not fantastic regifts. They didn't do a good job of it.
Yeah,
you gotta be thoughtful about it. Like I've definitely regifted. Like, if I get something and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to use it, or I'm not particularly fond of this, but I think someone else would like it and they're not in the social circle, I will regift. But the worst regift I ever got, this was from, this is when I was getting married, and a bridesmaid who I'm no longer friends with anymore. She gave me, not because of this, but this is definitely like, are you kidding me? It was a wedding planning book and I was really excited. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And I opened it up and it had like, and this was not the party. This was like a week later. I was like, I'm going to fill this out. It had like the first couple of pages she had filled out with her information. So she had regifted to me because she hadn't used it. And it would have been fine if she had been like, hey, I didn't use it. Do you want this? But to wrap it up and to give it to me. And so I took a picture and I sent it to her. I was like, that's not my wedding date. And she was like, she just could have like, she could have gone about it better and just like owned up to it. But she was kind of like, well, I also did this and this. And it's like, okay, but like you wrapped this up and you didn't say like, I didn't use this. Maybe you could. So I did give it away, but I told her about it. Miss Baylor, when she was engaged, I said, hey, do you want this? I never used it. And my bridesmaid had used some of it. If you want it, here you go. And she took it. I don't know if she ever used it. She might have regifted it to the next person that she knew who was engaged. And that's fine. I never want to see it again.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of in agreement here. I think what I would say, though, is like when you give that to Baylor, that's not a gift at that point. It's just something that you have. Like let's say you have like her birthday. You wouldn't give that to her as a birthday gift, right?
No, because I have manners.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's not a birthday gift. Hey, I have this. I don't need it. I haven't used it. Here it is. So that's one way to re-gift something. The kind of poor manner way of re-gifting, I think, is where you like pawn something off as something you got for that person. So one that came to mind for me was a former aunt of mine before I went off to college gave me a dorm kit. It had like shower sandals, a toothbrush, and like, you know, a caddy for the, you know, that kind of thing. It was garbage, just terrible gift. And I went to return it to Target because that's where it was from. And I went pretty soon after I got it. And the guy was like, we haven't carried this for well over a year. So it was like very obvious, like an afterthought re-gift situation. So don't pawn something off as something you put thought and time into. That's my issue with regifting. In general, though, if you want to regift something that you just got to come clean and be like, hey, I got this. It wasn't my jam. You might like it. Take it. And I don't think it necessarily qualifies though as a gift. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Agree,
yeah.
Disagree?
I think I can agree with that. I think I was half relieved on the ending of that story because I really thought you were going to say that she gave you like a used
yeah
oh yeah, that would no, it was brand new. Yeah, no, regifting's a weird deal though. I think people get offended way too easily with that stuff because what if it's something that is a regift but you're pumped about it? You're like, yeah, that's awesome, I want that. I mean, who cares at that point?
That's exactly like if somebody, it's like what Miss Wolf was saying. If you know that somebody's going to be pumped about a gift that you know that you're not going to use, who cares if it's regifted? It's still a thoughtful, like.
I'm not very forthcoming with that information if I regift because I don't want to upset them being like, here, I spent no money or time or thought other than you would like this more than I would. Like, I just feel like that's insulting to be like, I hate this.
That's fair.
But you might like this. I think that's
like setting somebody up on a date with a close personal friend of yours, and then they ask you, why wouldn't you date them? Well, I don't know. They're just better for you. Like,
yeah. So if you're gonna be regifting,
that doesn't fly.
Be smart about it.
Yeah. Okay. So do either of you ever feel awkward opening a gift in front of people?
Yes.
Like, yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the pressure to react the right way and all that.
Uh-huh.
Not about lying, but like just you're being watched.
Yeah.
Can we relate?
Yeah. And I guess like at parties, it can be kind of overwhelming. But for me, I love watching people open gifts. Like if I give you a gift, I'm like, open it now. Open it right now. And people are like, right now? I'm like, now.
So much pressure. No.
I give a lot of pressure to it.
Yeah, that's actually one of the few instances that I find myself feeling awkward. Not necessarily for the person opening, but if I'm the person opening, like you guys said, in front of a large crowd, no, not interested. Because you can't especially if there's a pile, right? You can't necessarily give the appropriate length of reaction that you should. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you may not like it, and it's sometimes hard to fake that. So, I mean, come on, give us less pressure and let us open it on our own time in the comfort of our own home, whatever. And then you have time to kind of come up with the perfect thank you and, be heartfelt and all that. I don't like opening in front of people.
I think though, I get totally uncomfortable, especially when there's a pile of stuff to open. I hate that. But in terms of like the appropriate length of time to express your feelings on it, nobody's expecting you to take 20 minutes on their gift because there's
Wold is expecting it.
I mean, maybe Wold would. Yeah, that's fair. But I think the only time that I get really uncomfortable about opening a gift in front of somebody is when I'm not expecting that gift. So like, if it's a holiday or if it's my birthday or whatever, I have time to mentally prepare what my different reactions can be, right? Especially knowing who might be bringing the gift.
Can we get a video of that, by the way? Let's.
Oh yeah. I will absolutely. I would be happy to perform. I feel like Wold would be really proud of my. I think Emmy Award nomination level performance. But if I don't know that I'm going to get the gift and I don't have that like mental preparation, it's scary because what if I hate it and I didn't have time to like prepare to pretend like it?
I feel like I'm the opposite. Like if I get a like spontaneous surprise gift, I'm just like, oh my God. And like I've gotten weird ones. Like my drama students, it was during Christmas Carol. They gave me at the first rehearsal, a group of them gave me a kiwano, like that spiky fruit. And they said, we got you an obscure fruit. And I was over the moon over that silly fruit. I was so excited. And then when the show closed, they got me another obscure fruit. It was like some kind of coconut hybrid. I don't know. I don't remember, but Like it was so simple and silly and sweet, and it just made me so happy. So I love the surprise gifts.
That kind of thing, like weird, obscure things, I always get excited about, though.
Yes, I had a student give me a mug that he had to remake it like 3 times in art class, and because he kept failing, it kept breaking or whatever. And so when he finally passed, he gave it to me, and it is the ugliest thing in the world, and I love it to pieces. I will keep it forever. I will always remember this student. I absolutely love it. And other students like, that mug scares me. And I'm like, I know, isn't it great?
I got one of those from Students Too, not a mug, but it was one of those, like, they made like
the little like
they're
One
like
of these?
yes, the faces.
I love those things.
No, not that one.
No,
I
not that.
Oh yeah, I have a face on my desk too.
It is the goofiest looking thing. Like she gave it to me, and then she was like, I put almost no effort into this.
Yep.
But it turned out kind of hilarious, and I was like, I love it. I will absolutely keep this on my desk forever.
That's what my students said. She was like, he only has bottom teeth because I got bored and didn't want to do the top. And I'm like, that's great. Yep. That gives him
Perfect.
character. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but see, the obscure, unexpected gift, I think because it's obscure, it allows a little bit more freedom of your reaction. Like there's no one's expecting you to react like, oh, that was so like, I don't know what to do. This is crazy. Like, no one knows what you're supposed to do with this, so it's okay.
I think
you have
you're
freedom.
Just scaring people off of giving you gifts. I am like, whatever. You want to give me something I'm never gonna use? Cool. I will find somewhere to sell it or whatever.
I have. You've been in my classroom. I got a lot of weird stuff in here. Let's be honest. And by the way, side note, my birthday is coming up, October 11th. October 11th, people. It's happening.
Okay.
So
I've got time. All right.
Yeah, not long away. I like coffee and I like mugs, so that's a pretty easy gift right there.
If you give him lots of food, he
woman,
shares it.
I want my nasty woman mug.
That's true.
Nasty
No,
woman.
I'm not getting you one of those.
I didn't ask you. I'm asking our audience, our massive audience of millions and millions of people. Okay, I think that's probably about all the time we have for this show. I don't think we've totally exhausted this subject. I gotta say though, Blonde, I was hoping for a little bit more sass out of you. I got off a little easy. I didn't get roasted the way I was expecting. So any last digs you want to throw in there?
Oh, I mean,
Yom Kippur just happened.
I just feel like
we got a whole 364 days before you got to atone again. So go ahead.
I just feel like the topic that we chose for the day just didn't really lend itself to a ton of roasting. But there were some other topics that you brought up. If you guys would be willing to have me as a guest again in the future, we could pull up some of those other topics, and I will happily roast you.
I welcome it. I mean, I'm used to it. We know each other well, and I'm okay with it. So if you feel like you got to throw something in, go for it.
And I had a full school year of not having lunch with you, and so I feel like it's
built up.
It's like built up, but it just feels different when it's
forced.
When it's on the camera, or when it's if we were face to face, if we were doing this in the same room, you best believe that it would be not a bloodbath. That's a little aggressive.
It is. It's scary. I'm scared now.
Oh,
I get you.
You would have your sassy pants on, is what you're saying.
I'll work on the sassy pants for the next time I get to join you guys for this.
I think her and Richardson together could really have some interesting, because Richardson did not hold back. He went for it and then some, more than I've ever seen in person, and so that could be an interesting thing. I was just like watching the whole time.
He's guilty about that now, because he'll stop by every now and then and just check in and make sure I'm doing okay. And
you wipe away the tears. I'm fine.
It's fine.
No, just allergies, everyone. All right. Well, thank you both always for being on this and taking time to talk about nonsense. I hope our audience will stay tuned and see what we have next time and who we have next time. So until then, just remember, people, life is about choices. Oh, yes. Roll the eyes, roll them back. I got to stop recording. See ya.